Welcome back to Purpose-Filled Life. This is Connie Sokol, your host, and we are continuing our series on helping you get to know disciple thought leaders and what they're doing with the principles and the skills that they're learning. How are they moving forward their message and how are they sharing it effectively? And what does that do for you? How are you going to be able to solve a problem in your life with something that one of these ladies has created? It's so fabulous. I love this because we connect, we share, and just like women do, like a boss, we help each other improve each other's lives and families. So today we have beautiful Angela Meyers with us. Hi, Angela.
Hi.
We are so happy to have her. If you have issues with parenting and helping your children to learn life skills so that they're ready to pop out of the house and they are solid, this is the podcast for you. I am all ears. I've been learning from Angela over the last several months, and this woman knows her stuff. She has it down. So I'm going to give you the official bio so that you can get to know her just a little bit more. But fabulous, fabulous woman, and she's going to teach you incredible things today. So to get to know Angela just a little bit, she is a public speaker, a teacher, a podcaster, and a founder of Kudos for Families nonprofit organization. She has a degree in psychology and a master's in marriage, family, and human development. And as I said, she created this beautiful system for kids, and she did it with the help of her father, who also is a family life educator, very well known, legend in the field. And he's passed that baton, and she's picked that up. And now she's making it even more relevant for our day and age, and for the digital tools that we have and for the needs of kids in our generation, right? She is also the mother of 4 adopted children and grandmother to several beautiful grandkids. So the beautiful thing about this woman is that, you have 4 adopted kids and 3 out of the 4 have different degrees of special needs, about 12 different diagnoses between all of them. And you have been able to navigate this so beautifully and incredibly so that what works for them works for general public people that just I've got these issues, I've got these needs. So that's what we're going to dive into today, is helping those that are listening, getting some of these solutions to the problem. So what is one of the number one problems that you see in trying to help transform parents and children, these families, into these happy, loving families and productive families? What is the number one problem that you're seeing?
I feel like one of the main problems is that parents are completely overwhelmed. There's so much going on in our lives. There's so much input, so much stimulus. Kids are involved in so many different activities and things. It's difficult as a parent. There's a lot of parent guilt, a lot of, I feel out of control. I feel like my family's out of control. My kids are out of control. And a lot of times a couple of things that I see is that parents are worried that their kids are not learning how to be responsible. And when they're adults, they kind of fail. And the other thing is they're not getting along. Kids are fighting, arguing. There's a kind of a bad spirit in the home sometimes. Those are 2 things that are huge headaches for parents.
Oh, that is so spot on. And especially COVID not being very helpful with everyone's in each other's pockets. Everyone's like, during that time, it was just more exacerbated. And now we've come out of the gate so fast of like, okay, we're trying to be all back into it, but we're still haven't really addressed the issues that we saw, and it's gone back to being fast and quick and not necessarily connecting. So what's one thing that you have found that has helped? Let's take those kind of piece by piece. What have you helped with responsibility? I know that this is a big thing for me too. I'll start something. I know okay, I can see this is a problem. Let's have a family council. All right, we're doing this. And then a week and a half, 2 weeks later, and I can't remember what it is that we decided. Have you addressed that at all?
Yes, totally. Because that was my problem before too. And I see a lot of parents that have that problem where they get excited, they start something and they can't follow through. I think it's because there's so much coming at us, so many things happening that we lose track. And I would find myself saying, oh my gosh, okay, I'm addressing this issue. We're concentrating on school, but I'm completely forgetting about the instrument or the housework or whatever. So I would get lost and confused. And so to address that, I've found that parents do so much better if they have a complete system where everything is set up beforehand so that when there is an issue, they are prepared. They're coming from a place of calm. So having a system, setting things up ahead of time helps you as a parent to get rid of the drama. When your kid comes home with a D, instead of freaking out and getting all extra animated, you've got a system in place. The kids know what's going to happen. You know what you need to do. Because you have the system, because you have the principles and the knowledge, you are prepared. So that angst or that anxiety that comes to parents, it kind of dissipates.
Oh my gosh, that's so beautiful. And I was just thinking years ago, I did the dino dollars and they had the dino chart with the little paw that they'd put the things in and they'd take their dollars and trade it in for like presents and, cool things in the dino store and all that. That was like 12 years ago and like 5 kids ago, right? And now my little caboose, I write up a yellow sticky note. That's all he gets is one of these things. And I'm like, check it off as you go, right? And I've noticed, and even though you can adjust for different ages and stages for sure, I've noticed that not having a set system, it does create more confusion. There isn't the clarity of what's expected and when, and there isn't the payoff after. There isn't this feeling of I did something and I want to do something more or do it better. So I've noticed that. I absolutely agree on the system. Okay, you're making me take notes here. You're making me think I need to do something different. So if parents are feeling that way, most likely what they're concerned about is kids being able to be finishers. And I've seen this where I've just allowed my little caboose guy, to be like, okay, fine, we'll do it tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes and we don't, right? And sometimes that's exactly what they need because there's a lot of stress right now. So there is a place for that. But what would you recommend for if you're really seeing that your child is not being responsible but they're not giddy about doing a system or they're not whatever, right? Because sometimes we lay down the law and we're like, here, now this is the way we're doing it. What do you recommend for helping them to be responsible, but in a positive way?
Okay, I think that is such a great question because what happens is parents will set up a system and they can't motivate the kids to do it. So you've got this beautiful thing set up and your kids aren't cooperating. And I think one of the main things parents need to realize is that the key to motivating kids is to give them needs. So what's happening nowadays is we give our kids everything. They have a buffet of food all the time. They have the latest gizmos and gadgets. They have so much. We give them everything. We're not expecting them to work for anything. So because we give them everything, they have no need to work. Our systems are not going to work if they have no need, because in our homes, when kids do something because they have a need and they are rewarded, that the good behavior increases. When you want a behavior to increase, a positive behavior, you reward that. When you want a negative behavior to go away, you don't reward it. So whatever your kids are doing right now in your home, it's because they're getting rewarded. I'm sorry, but if our kids are stinky and whiny and brats, it's our fault. Because we've trained them or they've trained us. Something is going on. So you need to have positive consequences, good things that happen when they do things that are right. And we try to focus on the positive as opposed to the negative.
I love that. Oh my gosh. Is there an experience that you've had with that where it's helped turn a child around by the parenting? I know you talk a lot about parenting by design and not by default.
Absolutely.
And have you seen something happen with that when the parent shifted that? Because I know I've tried things like that and we do have some of those systems in place for sure. And I can see the benefits of exactly what you're talking about. I just need to be the one that is the encourager and the one that stands in that space immovable, because what happens to me is they give me those big eyes and they're like, oh, but right. And I just cave wobbly because he's a caboose and I'm like, okay. But what does a parent need to do in order to make that shift and stand in that emotional space of, I'm not hurting my child, or I'm not like, oh, I'm not giving you what you need and want, but being able to stand behind it with a positivity? Like what can a parent do to do that better?
Right. I think if you've been clear about what the expectations are, if you say, okay, your job is to clean the bathroom on Saturday, and then you specify what that means. What does it mean to clean the bathroom? So you're super clear about what's expected and super clear about what the reward or negative consequence might be if they don't do it. Then it's set up. And then what happens is Saturday comes and you have to allow it to happen. As a parent, you can't sit back and nag and beg and plead and say, remember our deal? Remember, if you don't do it, you're not going to get to play with friends this afternoon. No, you just go silent. Parents talk too much. Kids don't listen. They tune us out. Everybody knows that, right? We know our kids tune us out. So when Saturday comes, excuse me, as a parent, you don't need to say anything because the system is set up. The child knows the situation. And what happens is if they do it, they get the reward. If they don't get the reward. They get the negative consequence, perhaps. But you can't get all sad for them. You can't be compassionate because basically you're just rescuing them and teaching them they don't have to be responsible. Because if they don't do it, they still get to play with friends or they still get the good thing. So the important key thing as parents is set up the situation, be really clear about your expectations, let the consequences happen. And you got to make sure you do that. You can't be all tired, because a lot of times, especially the younger kids, busy parents, we're just like, oh my gosh, it's too much work. I'll just do the job myself. Or I don't want to have a big drama thing going on here. So yeah, you can go see your friends. Sure, you can do it later. No, you can't do that. You've got to be honest with your kids. You've got to stick to what you said. So being really clear, setting up what the job entails, the consequence, negative and positive, and then making sure you follow through. You've got to follow through and be consistent.
Okay, I'm seriously like so excited. I'm thinking back in the day, I had little cards that listed 3 to 5 things for each job and stuff. And I'm like, those have gone the wayside, right? I love this. This is motivating and inspiring me to look at doing this differently. Have you had an experience that you can share with a parent or a child where they have started on that not doing so well side, and this has helped to turn it around and make it into a positive?
Absolutely. And I can start with just one of my own children, because I needed a way. I was struggling as a mom, and I thought, I went to school. I have the knowledge. How come I'm not making this happen? I should know what I'm doing. If it's this hard for me, it must be hard for other parents. So I came up with a system and it worked for my kids. And I was able to see attitudes change. I saw my kids doing their jobs, not only doing their jobs, doing them happily, asking for more work so they could earn more. We had Kudo Cash, so they could earn more Kudo Cash. They were motivated to be kind to one another. And so I have a great example of my son, my second son. We'd set up the system. Everything was ready. It was a great day. It was a Saturday morning. My husband and I were still in bed, and we don't sleep late on Saturday. And we heard the vacuum running. I was like, are you kidding? Who's vacuuming? I mean, it wasn't my husband. It wasn't myself. A kid would never do that. So I get up and I go out into the hallway where he's vacuuming very noisily. And it's my son, completely dressed, hair combed. I guess he'd brushed his teeth and everything, and he was doing his vacuuming. The reason he was doing that was because it was Saturday. And on Saturday, I had said it's the Speedy Award. So anybody who gets their stuff done by a certain time in the morning, everything done on your responsibility cards, you're going to get like $5 extra in Kudo Cash. So he was up making sure he did it. Then what he did was he actually went back to bed, laid on his fully made bed, fully dressed, hair combed, all of his jobs done, because he wanted that Speedy Award. Now, I don't know what parent in the world wouldn't just die for something like that.
That's amazing.
I didn't say anything. I didn't say get up. I didn't say you've got to do it all. The night before, I said, tomorrow's Speedy Award day. If you get it done by a certain time, you get an extra $5. And he was self-motivated. And that kind of thing will produce children who grow into adults who can handle their lives, who can pay their own bills, who aren't just sitting on your basement playing video games, sitting in your basement on a couch playing video games. So setting up something like that is huge for our kids.
Oh my gosh. This is so good. I've got goosebumps. I'm like, okay, this is an answer to prayer for me. Sorry. I hope people who are listening are getting something really good out of this. I'm sure they are, because I am, and I'm like on fire. So how does this, really simply, how does this Kudos system work?
Okay. So basically I've set up a program where I've kind of figured out everything for you, because as a mom, there was so many things. So I started off with them doing their own responsibilities. And then I thought, oh my gosh, I need to teach them. We need to work on values. We need to work on being polite. We need to work on having family spirit, being kind, catching them being good. And so I came up with a section for that. So I have a chart that has cards, responsibilities, all kinds of motivation. They get privileges when they do things. So I have a whole system that makes it easier for parents to just take it and run with it. You don't have to figure it all out yourself. It's not just a chore chart either. It's not just about the chores. It's a way to raise your kids with principles, sound, true parenting principles that are proven to work. And I've had kids on the system who are now grown up, who've been looking for the system, and they're using it on their own kids. So that means like success. They loved it growing up, and they are using it for their kids. So to the kids, it's a game where they're earning Kudo Cash and money and their own things. So they're earning their toothpaste, they're earning their clothes for school, they're earning that baseball mitt. You're not paying for it. It's the same money you always spent, but you're going through your child, and the child gives the money to the vendor. So it's amazing. And lots of kids have used it and they love it. So it does work, and it's beautiful. And it's set up so that it's easy for you, because we're overwhelmed, too much going on.
Absolutely. Well, I know that, wow, I love all of these details. This is so fantastic. And I'm seeing how I can use it with my son. I asked you to prepare just a quick thing so people can see what it looks like. If you just want to
Sure.
show them what it looks like set up super fast,
Mhm.
because I'm sitting here thinking, oh my gosh, when I have to tell you honestly, when we've been working with you and doing things, and I'm like, this is so fantastic and this is so great. And in my mind, I'm thinking, yeah, I can do that. Yeah, I've already kind of done that. So I
Mhm.
could do that myself because I've already done it with 6 of my kids, right? And
Right.
kind of a thing, right? But as
Mhm.
I'm listening to you in details, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can literally see how I can put this into practice with my 9-year-old, like
Mhm.
what the gaps are that I have not maybe been seeing. And I feel like this is almost like a mini coaching session right here because I'm like, oh, wow, I get it. I get it. So do you want to show them what it looks like set
Sure.
up quickly?
Yes, I can show you. And parents can set up their own system at home. It's just that this I put everything into that I ever wanted, that I thought my kids ever needed, using what I know.
So you
So
already done the
basically it looks
cutting
like
out,
this.
the cash, the everything, the game part.
Mhm.
And then you
Right.
have, I think you said you have videos, right? That you've created the video.
Yes. So I have the chart and it has different levels. So you start down here and you progress up to here. So your kids aren't just getting rewarded with money, Kudo cash that turns into real money. They are actually learning how they have an internal locus of control. So they're doing things because they want to, because they're right and good. So it just kind of progresses. So we have a chart for older kids from about 5 to 13. And then we have a smaller chart that's for Kudos for tots. It's for little kids about 3 to 5. So we use the system. And because I want to make sure that parents know why what they're doing is working and how to make sure that it works and how to be successful, because that's what counts, is that you have success with this, that this lasts you throughout your child's lifetime at home, that you can keep going with it. So I have a course where I have videos, a bunch of short videos that you can watch that explain each thing. And I say to you, hey, start out with this small piece because this is everything I ever wanted. So it might seem overwhelming, but the whole idea is that once you put the system in place, it's going to free your time up, your mental energy up, and it's going to change the emotions in your home. And we have one game, it's called I'd Be Happy To game. And I can talk about that later, but I have a challenge coming next week. It's going to be amazing. It's a free PDF download. We're going to walk you through it. If you do just that one part, it will completely change your kids' attitudes. So
Okay,
this
let's
is
talk about
everything
that now.
together.
I'm
Mhm.
super excited. Okay, so what is that 5-day challenge? What does that look
Okay.
like? So is that you're taking the parent's hand and you're working them through it?
Yes, it's one part of the chart. So
Perfect.
in the chart, we have all kinds of things. There's this section right here is games that you play with your kids. So the kids think it's a game. To the parents, it's a system that saves your life and your mental sanity. So just one of the games, one tiny part of this whole thing, I'm going to do a 5-day challenge on, and we're going to have, you can go to my website, kudosforfamilies.com, and I have downloads for you. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to talk about getting a treasure box. A lot of parents have done that, a treasure box, a treat bucket. And we have in the download, we have labels for the treat bucket and the treasure box. You're going to fill those. I'm not going to tell you everything because it's not super involved. It's easy peasy, but it's it's going to be all there for you. We're going to walk you through every day. There's a page where you can list privileges that your kids can earn. And then we also have some tokens. They have little smiley faces on them. And you're going to print these off for your kids, cut them up, put them in a special spot so each kid has his own. And what's going to happen? Let me tell you what will happen. You will be amazed. So you might have whiny, ornery kids and you want them to do something and they either don't get up and do it, or maybe they just whine and they just kind of shuffle. Like if you ask them to go get the groceries from in the car, you know how that is.
Oh,
Nobody
yeah.
really jumps up to do it. I want to do it. They don't do that. They're just like, oh my gosh. And they bring one in. So what's going to happen is you're going to play this game with them. You're going to say, you know what, you guys, I got this amazing game we're going to play. Every time I ask you to do something and you say, I'd be happy to with a smile and go and do it, you're going to get a token. And I have Kudo Cash. So if you're on the system, you would use Kudo Cash, but this is for people not on the system yet. So you give them a token and they start to realize that those tokens buy amazing things. Like 5 or 10 tokens can be a pizza party with friends, or 5 tokens could be go on a date with mom or dad. So they are dying to do these things because they're collecting these tokens and they can buy things in the treat bucket or the treasure box with them, or have these amazing privileges. You will be amazed. It's almost, I hate to say it, but it's almost instantaneous. As soon as you introduce this, takes them a few minutes to get it. And then they're like, oh my gosh, I want that. So they are motivated. Again, you're creating a need by showing them the prize.
I love that because it's that internal desire we all have to progress, to
Mhm.
become, and we can't articulate it maybe when we're younger, even when we're older, but it triggers that. It's a catalyst for that, of that
Mhm.
feeling of accomplishment of
Yes,
I chose that, I used my agency and I chose that, and I got that great feeling because now I got this good
absolutely.
thing.
Yes.
Love.
And we're teaching them how to work, how to be responsible. And with this game, we're teaching them how to be of service, to be cooperative, to volunteer to help. So they get their little rewards and it turns into intrinsic. They,
Oh,
like you said, they want to do it because it feels good.
yes.
So,
Oh, and that is the key. That's the goal, is that this
mhm.
all happens in here so that they don't have to be externally rewarded. And I've seen that with my own kids. I know others listening have seen that same thing too. We've seen it when we hit the right sweet spot, that they have that and it does work. But it's
Yes.
what you're saying. And what I love is that you're saying this system helps to create that continually. So it
Mhm.
sets up your environment for that very sweet spot that we occasionally hit on and go, wow, that worked. That was great.
Mhm.
I love this. Again, people wanting to know where to get this,
Mhm.
where can they find you?
Our website is kudosforfamilies.com. We're a nonprofit organization. We're just there to help families. So they can go to kudosforfamilies.com and we've got a place on there where they can subscribe. We have a Facebook group called Kudos for Families. We'd love to have you join us. It's a place for parents to connect and support each other. We're a community, a family. It's all about supporting other parents, getting past the overwhelm and having these responsible, happy kids who grow up to be successful adults.
Love, absolutely love. And hop on today because I love this. And like I said, what's interesting is we can hear about something and we can say, wow, that's a really great thing. But like you've shared today, it has helped me to see clearly this will truly benefit my particular child in my
Mhm.
particular situation. And that's what I love about what you do. You have created something based on true principles. You have the knowledge and the skill, and you've now put it into a concise system that's easy to use, helping
Mhm.
parents to understand simply how to get it started and then let that work for the families to truly transform them. That is your goal. Love
Mhm.
it. Angela, thank you so much for being with us
Thank
today. This was
you.
amazing.
It's so fun. Thank you so much, Connie. I appreciate it.
Love it. And for those listening, if you are loving these interviews with all these DTLC women, believe me, these women are incredible. We have created a program, a system to help them to be able to get their message effectively shared with others. And that's what we were able to do in this series. So if you want to check out any others, go below, rate, review, subscribe, and check out what the others are doing and see how they can help you live your life in a more purpose-filled way. And maybe we can help you to fulfill your own purpose for him.